Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Aggravating Scar 7518. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my mother-in-law redecorate our nursery? So I, 26 female, am currently 32 weeks pregnant with mine and my husband Felix's, 27 male, first child. Things have been going well, and one of the great things is that Felix is a builder, and so everything with the nursery went pretty smoothly, pretty fast. We agreed at the start what kind of vibe we wanted to go with, and it's pretty much already done. Figured that we get it sorted as soon as possible, so it wasn't another thing to worry about later. My mother-in-law has always been a bit of a nightmare, but has been better since the news that I'm pregnant, though not without issue. For example, she told me that I should lose some weight and that it wasn't healthy for me or the baby. She knows that I used to struggle with anorexia and I'm not any sort of unhealthy weight. In the past, I've kept my mouth shut and let Felix deal with her. Now for the main issue. As the nursery has almost been completed, she suddenly decided to invite herself around more. I work from home currently. She comes in on the regular, asks me when I'm going to have lunch and, "Oh, could you just pop me something too?" And then we'll wander into the nursery and start rearranging things. I know this sounds stupid, but once she literally bought an IKEA bag full of stuff that she put in there. It doesn't match. But I've never said anything really beyond, "Oh, thanks so much for the thought, etc." And yesterday, when she came around uninvited, she looked me up and down and said, "Really? Joggers? Thank God Felix isn't here." And then walked into the nursery. She started asking me where the pillow she'd put in the crib had gone, why I'd taken out the fairy lights hanging on the wall right by it, etc. I explained that they were potential safety hazards to the future baby and that I'd taken them out. She started with, "Oh well, I've had 3 children and I really think you should take more of my advice," and then looked me in the eyes and said, "You're really not going to be a good mother at this rate." I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones, but I just stared at her for a moment and then told her to get out of the house. I'd been up all night and had loads of work and wasn't in the mood. She got very uptight about it and left. Felix says he's going to talk to her and tell her that she shouldn't be reorganizing anything without our permission, but I don't know if it was just the hormones and I'm being unreasonable. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you are most definitely not the a-hole. You just had enough of her crap. It's a good thing that Felix wants to talk to her, but I think he needs to know what he needs to talk to her about, and that is boundaries. First of all, why is your mother-in-law allowed to just come in and out of your house without knocking on the door or ringing the doorbell or even calling beforehand to ask if she can visit? It might be the house her son lives in, but that doesn't give her the right to just come in and out as she pleases. That's one of the boundaries that needs to be set. Also, where does she get off on telling you all this crap about you not being healthy enough or you going to be a bad mom? That's something she needs to apologize about, and she should start biting her tongue when she gets the urge to say something stupid like that. Additionally, why does she think she gets to have an opinion regarding how you guys want to have the nursery? Just because she had 3 kids? Not good enough for me. And Felix is the one that needs to set these boundaries with her, not you. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Trick Delivery 4609 says, "Not the a-hole. Felix needs to put down a lot more boundaries. No more popping up when he isn't around. She has to ask him to come over and can only do so when he says yes and he is there. No more talk about your health or weight, ever. No redecorating or moving anything in your house. I'm sure there's need to be more. This is to get you started with him. He needs to protect you and your child." Enfys May says, "Not the a-hole. Felix needs to shut this down like yesterday. She's being openly disrespectful to you. She can no longer come over uninvited. She needs to call and schedule a visit like everyone else. Also, if she has a key to your home, change the locks. No more bringing unwanted items for the baby. While you appreciate the thought, you and Felix want to prepare the baby's room the way you wanted. This is your baby. She had a chance to decorate how she wanted with her kids, and now it's your turn." No more passive-aggressive comments to or about you. If this isn't shut down, she will continue this around your child. She will talk badly about you around or to your child. This is disrespectful to you and should immediately be stopped. Actions have consequences. If she breaks any boundary you and Felix have set, she won't see the baby for X amount of time. That could be days, weeks, months, or even a year depending on how severe the boundary she broke was. You can even do it first offense X days, second X months, third permanent. This is something you and Felix need to sit down now and talk about. This blatant disrespect needs to stop, and it needs to stop immediately. This can't continue if for no other reason than your mental health. She knows you have an eating disorder and is deliberately using it against you. What is her end goal? For you to spiral so she can tell everyone you're an unfit mother? That sounds psychotic. And Temporary Analysis 55 says, what the F? Change the locks to your house if she has a key. Stop letting her come over whenever she wants and make her leave the second she insults you. Zero tolerance for her crap is the only way. Your husband is married to you, not her. He needs to tell her to smarten up. Additional information from OP's comments. Sorry I didn't add the context for when she commented on my weight. It's on me. Felix wasn't lax. We were all in the kitchen together and he looked at her and said verbatim, "The F you talking about? Let's not do that." And went back to making himself a cup of tea. Lol. And after this last incident, I called him and told him about it while he was at work. And he said, for F's sake, why is she such a bitch? So he is on my side. I'm going to have a longer talk with him about it later. Hard boundaries need to be set and he needs to communicate them. Not just because she'd listen to him more, but because then I'm not the bad guy as much. About her coming when she pleases, she was giving a key a while ago when Felix and I went on holiday so that she could come in to feed our cat. Didn't ask for it back because neither of us foresaw this happening. I didn't feel like completely burning a bridge and blowing up at a woman who is literally going to be related to me by law for the rest of my life. Alright, so the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, that Felix needs to lay down some boundaries, and OP let us know that Felix is totally on her side and should not have a problem in the task of setting these boundaries. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Felix and I sat down and had a conversation about how to manage his mother going forward. I told him everything that she had said to me and he was adequately furious with her. He asked me exactly what I wanted done in the future so that she'd understand where our boundaries are, and followed them. I told him that I'd rather him speak to her alone at first so that I wasn't immediately made out to be the bad guy. I acted on advice and the locksmith has been called to change the locks on the house, and Felix has ordered a Ring doorbell off Amazon with the assurance I'll be able to put it in. He hates doing electronics, but you know how it is. I'll leave him to it, lol. And then he called up mother-in-law and organized a lunch date for today so they could have a talk between themselves. He got back in the afternoon and as he walked into the door, smiled at me and went, "Sorted." Then he characteristically went to go and make himself a cup of tea. I got a message a few minutes later from her saying she was very sorry for what she had said to me, that she was in the wrong, only going to visit when invited, not going to go into the nursery anymore, and was going to respect the rules and boundaries that he and I set for our home life and for our child. And after added that she was sorry for the comments she'd made on my appearance. I'll believe it when I see it, but at least it's a good start. And we've all agreed to go for dinner at some point to talk about future expectations when the baby comes. I talked to Felix and he said that she'd been offended at first, but didn't believe she'd done anything wrong. And he also specifically said she hit with the spiel of, "Oh, I must be such an awful mother then." And he told me he'd told her, "It's not about that. It's about you disrespecting my wife, our child, and our home. If you continue, you're not going to dream of being able to see your grandchild." She was apparently and unsurprisingly sulky, and he told her to apologize, and she said she would, and to her credit, did. Thank you all for your advice about how to handle things going forward with the logs and everything. The amount of support was crazy, but I can't thank you all enough. I feel so much calmer about the situation. I don't know if she's going to stick to what she said going forwards, but at least boundaries have been set and I know that Felix has my back. On a lighter note to end, I asked if he had anything he wanted to say to the people who had commented, and he said, "Can you add that photo of me in Florida? Felix, that's not even slightly relevant. Shame. What do you want for tea? Thank you." OP's edit. I told Felix people wanted to see the photo and he replied, "I know what the people want." Lol. I'll describe the photo and hopefully somewhat satiate the people. It was when we were in the Florida Keys and he's sitting on a comically large yellow wooden beach chair, think 3 times the normal size of one. He's got relatively short wavy brown hair, he's holding up a red spade in one hand and giving a thumbs up with the other, and has this stupidly big goofy grin on his face. He'd just finished making a sandcastle, which is somewhat visible in the background, and had sat down to have a rest. Bless him. He also told me to add that he looks really fit, so do with that what you will. He made us frame it and it's hanging up in the hallway. And about my mother-in-law's apology, I get that she might not mean it and it might start all over again, but it's still the little wins for me right now, because the boundaries have been clearly communicated. It means she doesn't have a leg to stand on for excuses. Even if she starts up again, I know that everything is going to be handled and I don't have to stress too much about it. Thank you, smiley face. Well, OP, I think this is a great update. You and Felix are on the same page. He's definitely got your back. And as you've said, the law has been laid, so she doesn't have any wiggle room. So here's wishing you both the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit True Off My Chest, and it's by user Damn the Hallway. I'm so jealous of my sister's marriage that it sickens me. I even snooped on her husband looking for evidence he's actually crap. I'm ashamed. My sister and her husband always seemed to have a good marriage. They've been together for around a decade, but you never really know, right? And to be honest, I thought they were just pretending since I've never had a relationship that was super good in private. Well, now I do know. I've been living with them for 3 months. They took me in when my ex cheated on me. They do nice things for each other all the time and it's like they don't even think about it. It's just natural. They're always bringing each other little presents. My ex called me shallow when I wanted him to give me even a cheap present for my birthday. Their eyes light up when they look at each other. My ex looked at me like I was a potato. They hug each other as though they haven't seen each other in months whenever one of them gets home. My ex ignored me when I got home and wanted me to leave him the F alone to effing relax whenever he got home. They encourage each other's hobbies and outside friendships. My ex hated my friends and thought my hobbies were stupid. Worse yet, I can tell they're holding back when it comes to being affectionate around me. I arrived home early from an event one day and saw her sitting in his effing lap while they watched TV and he played with her hair. The stuff I see is apparently just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how much they like each other. They've even been through some of the tough crap, deaths, a miscarriage, job losses, that can tear couples apart, but they made it through just fine, I guess. I honestly didn't think relationships like this were real. I thought it was Hallmark BS and that all relationships are miserable, hard work once you get past the honeymoon stage. I couldn't believe it, so I snooped on her husband, Max. It turns out his private communications are fine. He had conversations with female friends, but they were only platonic. And he even talked about how much he loves my sister, Sandra. Anyway, I felt extremely guilty about snooping that I confessed. They forgave me. My sister took me out for the day without Max and told me she'd been in crappy relationships before Max, which I already knew, and that she thinks they helped her learn how to spot red flags so that she'd be available when the right person for her finally came along. She's also gone to therapy for a long time and she says it helped her learn how to make healthy relationship choices and be a good partner. Max and Sandra offered to pay for me to get therapy. My insurance isn't great, so that's nice. I just want to find something like what they have. There's a silver lining though, I guess. Now that I know this kind of relationship isn't a childish fantasy, I don't think I'll ever be able to put up with somebody like my ex again. Well, OP, I can't fault you for thinking that the relationship your sister has with Max would be BS or that relationships like that don't exist. I mean, considering all the bad input you had from all your crappy experiences in the past, I can see how you got to that conclusion. Of course, this doesn't excuse the snooping. That was still a bad thing to do. But the good thing is that you owned it, you came clean, and they forgave you. And on top of that, they decided to try to help you, which I think just says everything you need to know about them. And what do you guys think? Do you think the kind of relationship that Max and Sandra have is like a unicorn relationship? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Artsy Elephant 1245 says, "It sounded like you wanted someone to be as miserable as you were to feel less alone, and I hope that therapy truly helps you heal and find value in yourself. Your sister and her partner sound amazing, and I'm glad they are able to help you." And Dopey responds, "You've nailed it. The more I saw my sister and Max being happy, the more I felt worse and worse about myself and my life and all the time I've wasted in bad relationships. I hope the therapy helps me too. Sandra and Max are good people. I need to be more appreciative. It's hard when I'm so jealous, but it's important. I'm also glad they're able to help me. I feel pathetic needing the help, but I do need it." Waking Dreamland says, "You should take the offer of therapy. Your view on relationships is incredibly skewed and some sessions might help untangle some of it so you can view the dating world with a bit of optimism. Once you do that, you're on your way to finding a healthy relationship. Good luck, friend." And OP responds, "I'm accepting the offer. I even have an appointment set up. Turns out it's easy to get an appointment when you don't have to go through insurance." And Restless Overthinking says, "It sounds like your bad experiences have caused you to see every good deed that they do for each other as either weird or as an outlier or the stuff of movies. But unfortunately, those sorts of relationships do exist. I reckon you should definitely take them up on their offer to get the therapy. It sounds like you need to get out of your head and spill it all out to someone who listen and offer constructive advice. And the snooping around thing should be a one-off. They're being generous by letting you stay with them, so don't piss them off. And I'd stop comparing the relationship you had with your ex to your sister and brother-in-law's marriage. Your ex sounds like a complete turd." And OP responds, "I accepted their offer to get me therapy. I'm definitely not going to snoop again. That was a low point for me when it comes to my behavior and I regret it. I'm amazed Max didn't freak out." Alright, well, the community was urging OP to yes, go for the therapy, and OP said she's going to do it. Now, we have an update that is 1 year after the original post, so let's move on with that to see how this story ends. "Hi, I'm the psycho who snooped in my brother-in-law messages because I thought it was impossible for men to be great to their partners. I have an update for you all, but I'm not sure exactly where to start. So I'm going to use a list format and just write stuff in whatever order it comes to mind. I started therapy very soon after my post. My first therapist wasn't great, so my sister Sandra encouraged me to find another, and my second one was awesome. I'm still seeing him once every 2 weeks. He's helped me a lot with healing from the trauma of my last relationships and also learning how to relate to others in a more healthy way in every part of my life. He also really helped me learn how to manage bitterness and jealousy, finding the underlying causes and working on those. I moved out of my sister and brother-in-law's house after a couple of months. It turns out that my sister and brother-in-law were secretly livid about the snooping, but they appreciated that I confessed on my own and decided to be kind and help me. They decided that if I took advantage of the help they offered and put effort into getting better, they would forgive me. I didn't realize how close I was to making my sister go low contact with me. Thankfully, I did take their help. I'm not upset seeing how loving my brother-in-law is to my sister anymore. I'm happy for her. They became foster parents after I moved out and are now in the process of adopting the little girl they've been fostering. They're literally the perfect people to be nurturing a traumatized child. They're doing so great, and the little girl, Maddie, is doing so much better than when she was first placed with them. She's an amazing girl, and she and my sister plus brother-in-law are so lucky they've all found each other. I've been single the whole time. That was on purpose. A few months ago though, I determined that I'd be open to dating again. I didn't want to actively do anything, no dating sites, but I decided I wouldn't purposely avoid dating anymore. A week ago, a guy I became friends with at the animal shelter I started volunteering at about 6 months ago asked me out. I said yes. Our first date was great. He's very kind. He's the guy you go to if you need to calm down a traumatized, terrified animal. He cleans diarrhea-coated animal carriers without any complaint. My sister approves of him. He's very funny too. So that's the update. Well, OP, I think it's a great update and it actually comes in handy as a mood booster as well. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future. Hopefully your upcoming dates with your friend are just as great. Take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.